Oh, we're back. I panicked. Okay, I did write the formula. It's this one, but we just need to kind of fix it up a bit. Okay, so this formula, the 180 n minus 2 over n, we used that to find the measure of the interior angle. So this sucker is equal to the interior angle. Okay, well, let's plug in what they gave us. They gave us that the interior angle is 140. So we're going to say this huge big fraction is 140. And it's equal to 180 times n minus 2 over n. Okay, if I'm trying to get n by itself, oh gosh, we're going to have to use some algebra. If I'm trying to get the letter n by itself, he can't be in the bottom. So the opposite of divide, n, on the bottom, is multiply, big fat multiply dot, n on the top. Yeah. And when I do that, it cancels on the right, because the opposite of multiply dot is divide bar. Okay, let's see what we get. This gives us 140n equals, let's go ahead and distributize this stuff. That means multiply. 180 multiply n. 180 n. 180 multiply negative 2. Minus 360. Okay, and then the fraction's gone. Okay, let's get our n by itself. Well, first we need to move our n's on the same side. So this is a positive 180, so I think I'm going to minus it to whip it to the other side. And we get negative, and we kind of panic, but it's okay. We get negative 40n equals negative 360. Okay. Now, how do you get rid of that negative 40 multiply? The opposite of multiply is divide by negative 40. And we get n equals positive 9. So there's 9 sides to the polygon. And we use this formula, it's just we had to write equals the angle they gave us, 140. And then we were able to do opposites to get the letter n by itself. Okay, let's look at this sucker. It says all the interior angles of a polygon, the sum of them is n minus 2 times 180. So if this question asked for the sum of the interior angles, if this picture asked for the sum of the interior angles, then you'd say n minus 2, and remember, n is the amount of sides. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, there's 6 sides, minus 2 times 180. And that makes 4 times 180. And that makes 720. So if I added up all these angles inside, it would be 720 degrees. And that's kind of mind-boggling that we can do that without actually knowing the degrees. Okay, let's look at this next example. It says, find the measure of the angle x in the figure. Well, it looks like they labeled all the angles except for this one. So how about we figure out what all the angles added up are using this formula, and then we'll do something else. Okay, so first let's find the sum of the interior angles. The sum of all these angles from this formula is n minus 2 times 180. Okay, well, n means the amount of sides. Let's count how many sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, that looks like 7 sides. So that 7 is the n. So let's plug that 7 in. We're going to have 7 minus 2 times 180. That's 5 times 180, and negatos, let's see. Whoa, that gives us 900. Yeah. So that's how much all these angles should add up to. That's the sum. How do I find this little one leftover angle? Well, I'm going to take 900 and I'm going to minus off each angle. And that should tell me what this little x is. So let's see here. We're going to take 900 and minus 124, minus 131, minus 120, 125, 140, 140. Hey. So x is 120. So the question was, how many degrees, or find the measure of the angle x? We just did. It was 120. We just had to use this awesome sum formula first. Okay, let's look at this last sucker. It says, home plate on a baseball field has 3 right angles. Oh, and they drew us a picture. Here's a 90-degree angle. Here's a 90-degree angle. Here's a 90-degree angle. Remember, only boxes make 90-degree angles. These other 2 suckers are kind of curved. That's not a box. Okay. And 2 other congruent angles. Oh, okay. Congruent means they're equal. Okay. Now it says refer to the following here and find the measures of each of the 2 other congruent angles. So we need to find what is the degree for these 2 suckers right here. Well, we kind of know how to do it. We're going to do it the same way we did this last problem, only let's start there. Okay, so we're going to find the sum, and the sum is equal to n minus 2 times 180. Okay, how many sides are there? Let's count on this home base. 1, 2, 3, 4. Home plate, my bad. N equals 5. So we're going to say 5 minus 2 times 180. That makes 3 times 180, and that's 36, 54, 540. Okay. Now, to find the measure of these 2 angles, let's go ahead and subtract what we know from 540. So we're going to take 540, and we're going to minus the 90, the other 90, and the third 90. Let's see what you get. Hey, we get 270. Right? So that means that these 2 angles that are equal, if you add them up, they give you 270. Okay, so this whole thing should add up to 540 because we use this formula. Then we subtracted off our 90s. Then, since these 2 angles are equal or congruent, that means that they're the same number. Okay, so I need to somehow split this 270 into 2 angles. How do you split something into 2? You divide by 2. 135. Okay, so the question was, find the measures of each of these 2 other congruent angles. They're both 135. Huzzah!